Hello, Mechwarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, Mechwarriors? I'm your host, Josh. I've got my co-host, Lore Master Denim.
Howdy, howdy.
And Steve. The only man to be resuscitated twice in the same mech, in the same battle. Because, quote, dying on the battlefield is not a qualifying life event for insurance.
Those mass trucks are worth their weight in gold.
We are the Mechbay podcast, your one source for all things casual to competitive tabletop BattleTech. Today's episode is sponsored by Mechwarriors, Reese Hansen, Cadet Richard Moore, and my boy, Cadet KZ. That is a Kilo Zulu. Well, boys, we're back. We survived. It's not even all of May. I can't even say most of May. We survived most of April, maybe?
Well, we're here.
We're here. What is it? The health check, like mech commanders, like, all right, how's everyone doing? And it's like flat line, blips occasionally.
We're an AFib over here. It's good.
Yeah, well, good to be back, boys. And we have a special episode lined up because it's time to talk about advanced battle armor. Like, not rules level, but all the things they didn't teach you in Battle Armor 101.
Hey, they make those in BSP form now.
We'll get to that. But first, let's hit some BattleTech news. All right, first, we've got BattleTech author Brian Young. He's hit us with Ghost of Tim Kavici. Or is that Ghost of Ted Kaczynski? I kind of read that wrong the first time and had to sound it out. Would help me out, Steve.
I believe it's pronounced Tim Kavici, but that's the best guess I got. I'm not going to be okay. I guess I got to be honest. I'm not like super thrilled here because I know this is about the ghost dogs and I know they're fighting falcons. And I was joking with Brian, and Brian goes, Steve, you know, the book's not called All Ghost Dogs Go to Heaven. So I'm pretty sure that my boys lose. So I don't know if I want to read this book. But Brian has done me solid in the past with the other Falcon novels he's done. So I'm sure he'll be fair and there won't be any nonsense, no plot armor for those remnants of the Kellhound / Ghost Dogs. So if you're into that, check it out.
I don't need it to be fair. I just need it to be exciting.
Yeah, with more Falcons doing the exploding, not being exploded.
You know, that's how I play my BattleTech. I don't care who's exploding as long as somebody's exploding.
Preferably the other guy. And also, we've got Hotspot's Draconis Reach should be out any time now. I think we're all just...
I hear it's good. I mean,
we're just waiting for it to hit shelves and then we'll start talking about it. So
I keep seeing bits and bobs out in public and the pictures and stuff. And I'm not sure whether those are just some of the copies that got let out at Adepticon or they're just recycled photographs or other people are getting hands on them somewhere. I don't know. But from what I have seen, they looks interesting. Looks like they cleaned up a lot of the issues from Hinterland stuff. And if they keep doing that, I can't wait to see what the next book's going to have in it.
Right.
Official street drop date is the 13th. So any day now.
Any day.
Check your local stores or check Fortune's Miniatures and Games. All right, let's move on some hobby progress. Guys, it's been like a month. Hopefully we've all gotten some hobby progress in.
I totally have. So
okay, we got one, Steve.
I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off. I've been doing a ton of stuff.
Prep for your own tournament is 1,000% hobby progress. We've gone over that.
That is receiving gifts is not hobby progress.
But setting up your own tournament, definitely hobby progress.
Yeah, it's been something else, let me tell you. I would be remiss to not mention how great, I mean, we all know the BattleTech community is phenomenal, but in getting ready for Motor City this year, the community has really come together because the venue that I normally use was booked by a small girl who had a recital from some dance recital, and she had booked one room, but not the main gymnasium that we normally use. So when I went to inquire if it was available, they said, well, maybe this small girl might want to use it after her recital as like a, kind of a snack bar, like a reception area. And I'm like, but we do this every year. I need the space. And they said, well, we can check for you. And I said, no, I'm not going to take this space away from the small girl in her dance recital. So I was effectively outed from my event, and I had to find a new location. And in doing so, we grabbed a hotel just up the road a little ways. And it's a nice space. They're going to give us great tables and tablecloths. We're going to be very fancy and professional. We're going to have tablecloths.
Wow.
I know. Very fancy. But the problem is the price tag is like 3 to 4 times higher than what I was using before. Right. So, people have really come together. Some people have donated a lot of prize support. I mean, and these are like people that are coming to play. They're like, oh, I've had a couple of these boxes in my basement for a while. Here, do you want them? And I'm like, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. You don't have to do that. Don't feel obligated, but thank you. And I mean, people have just come out of the woodwork donating time, and some people have paid entry fees for other people. And it's just been really heartwarming to see the entire community come together and help out, which is great, because I don't think I've heard of other other war game communities doing that for events, which I thought was amazing.
No, we stingy as heck, man.
But I will say I'm riding a little high right now because I have so many blind boxes in my basement.
No. What kind of blind boxes? Like all of them?
They're almost all Gothic. They're almost all Gothic. So I'm not like super tempted, but I'm kind of tempted, and it's really not good.
50% Atlases, Atlas, who knows? But there's some cool ones.
Yeah, I think people are going to be excited to come and get there's some cool stuff. My buddy Paul went to Adepticon, and in your VIP boxes, if you sign up for Adepticon with the VIP, you got a Essentials box. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people there were not interested in BattleTech, so Paul was trading bits and bobs from his pack because he wasn't into Warhammer or whatever. She's like, hey, I'll trade you this box of whatever Grotlings for your Essentials box. And he collected, I think, 15 Essentials boxes, and he's like, Steve, here, take a dozen of these for the prize table. And I'm like, I guess we're giving away Essentials boxes now.
Bargained well and done. Nice.
Right. It's been a lot of fun, but the less fun part is checking lists and drafting missions and play testing those missions ad nauseum.
Yeah, you're not fun anymore. I tried to go play some games with you, and you're like, I can't go out of my room. I have to check these lists.
Dude, yeah. We have 64 people signed up. A couple people had to pull out, so I think we're going to have 60 to 62 players if everybody can get there safely, which is great.
Incredible.
It's a huge turnout for an Alpha Strike event for one day, which is great. And we've got 3 brand new missions and 1 mission that's been tweaked. So I think people are going to have a really fun time, and I can't wait. We've got, I made a really nice spreadsheet for score tracking now with all sorts of VLOOKUP commands and codes. And I think Sam would be proud of me because I did a lot of Google Foo, and I made some Excel magic happen. And now I can type in one place and it will show up in like 4 spots, and it'll be great. Nice. So scorekeeping should be way easier than it was last year, which was a nightmare. But I'm excited, and it's almost done. And then all the stuff gets to come out of my basement, and I won't have to deal with it anymore. And Yay. I can go back to enjoying the game.
That's not what you do. Nobody enjoys it.
But no, that's been almost entirely my hobby progress. I haven't cracked a paint pot in, like a month and a half.
That's okay, Steve.
I am slowly working on those canopins, though, because I'm going to bring those out to Battle for the Bay out in Maryland in July. So I got to finish those canopins. So I'll get back to that soon.
Nice. Well, I got some hobby progress done.
What'd you do?
Do I need to ask?
Yes, Steve, you may ask.
Is it for BattleTech?
It was not for BattleTech. I had intended to go to the Richmond Open for BattleTech and was going to do some sweet Dark Age Comstar. And unfortunately, my wife had something work come up, and she was like, hey, you need to leave at 8 a.m. Sunday morning. And I was like, it's a 2-day tournament. Yeah, it's a top cut, but if you've now put this on me, I will make the top cut. So
right.
I was like, no, I cannot as a person live with the, hey, you have to drop out of a tournament. So I was like, well, hotel's already booked, and there's only one BattleTech thing going on really that day. So I just dropped out and played 3 games of Halo and was done by 4:30, and had to watch all the other BattleTech people play until 7:30. So, yeah, they had to suffer.
Games in. Get some chipped games in.
I did get one. So I finished out my tournament. So, hobby progress. I painted 3 Halo miniatures and took them to the tournament.
All right.
Then we'll just go into my mini games played. I did get to play Jack Attack, Richmond native and patron. I finally got to play him, and I took my Spartan and my Ryjan and fought his Crusader and Mongoose. The Crusader has all the medium lasers, and the Mongoose, I think, is the 76, the supercharger one.
Yep.
That game technically lasted 2 turns before the Mongoose ran behind, shot the Spartan, found the SRM2 ammo. Yep. I was like, and he was like, I wanted a little bit more than that. And I was like, okay, hold up. And I scroll through and I was like, all right, we're going to convert this Spartan to the Spartan that has case, because even under the quote new rules, I would not have survived because it's an XL.
Right, he doesn't have, Intersphere XL doesn't have 20 points of internal structure.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, we go to the case one. Now I go to 10 points of explosion damage, and I've got 5 structure remaining in that location. It's like, it's not great. P.S. He lasted 2 more turns, and it died by a rear shot medium laser, and it's like, yep, can't do nothing about that. So we'll say that Mongoose did fail a supercharger and blow 2 engines. So
whoops.
You know what? Karma's a just lady, but
a fickle god.
yeah. So Jack got his Josh Mechbay chip, his Pokemon badge.
The blue chip.
Fantastic.
It was a good game. I wish I could have stayed around for more. I think Deviant ID, Brad, he wanted to play test Atlantic City Open games, and I was like, ooh, I would do that. But I also haven't eaten in like a lot, and like all day. I'm not paying $14 for a chicken sandwich from a concession stand.
That's pretty steep for a chicken sandwich.
Yeah, pretty steep. It was pretty steep. So I got some high progress, and I technically got a BattleTech game in, so screw everyone.
Because that's the first one in a while, so yeah.
Yeah, I got one in last time. I got another chip game again against Jason. So I'm getting like 1 chip game a month. Don't worry, I'm coming back. I gotta wait for Draconis Reach to land, and then I'll be playing that. And then we'll resurrect the Tales from the Hiring Hall.
Bring it back.
Yeah. So yeah, I got painting done. Hooray me.
Yay. Yeah. Denim, what about you?
My hobby progress was mostly centered around my campaign game, because we did a boss fight against the bull shark from the HBS game.
Oh,
so
cool.
I primed and painted up one of those guys, got some cool terrain bits, got these, the bull shark's got the thumper cannon, so it launches artillery that hits the ground for 5 points and then does 5 points to every adjacent hex. So I made got a tea light and some of that cottony stuff and some spray paint, and made some explosion markers that lit up. Looked really cool. Good. Yeah, it was a fun time. People like that.
Awesome. Well, do you want to roll into your games played?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, my games played are easy. That played the campaign and did a chip game against Jeff, who was a Hangar 18 regular, who ran away to San Diego, but he was back visiting family, and he's like, hey, I'm here. Do you have time for a chip game? I'm like, for you, absolutely. So we ended up doing a Kurita versus Kurita, which surprised, Kurita won. We were actually doing one of the missions from the playtest mission package, and it was the scanning one. So it was a really weird mission. And he did win because I couldn't roll above a 7 for scanning. Like, that's it. Like, I had more kills. I had more territory. I just couldn't roll. We each got like 3 edge in that game. All of my edge were spent on re-rolling scans. Just the scan rolls are weird. It was fantastic to see Jeff again, though. I haven't seen him it was almost exactly a year from the time he left at the time we played that chip game. So I'm glad he was in the area. I'm glad he got a chip. Yeah, it was good to see you again, Jeff.
Okay, well, I already did my games played. So, Steve, Has the man getting a tournament together gotten any games played in?
I did, actually. I told myself last Friday that I had to get out of the house and actually play a game for fun, because I think my only BattleTech games for the last 3 months have been, most of them have been campaign games where I'm kind of not pulling punches, but I'm not playing optimally, right? So I got out to the game shop and I played with a new group, a new person in our community. His name is Keegan, and he was interested in learning the Mercenaries rule set. So I decided to play a game with him. But I know we haven't done Tales from the Hiring Hall because we haven't had a lot of contracts done. But I will say I did want to make a new unit because it wasn't really going to be fair for me to drop my 2-3 pilots against his 4-5s, right? So I made a new faction, a new mercenary group, and I called them Jason and the Argonauts.
That's fantastic. I mean, that just, of course, I'm a dad, therefore I have the little book of dad jokes, and that pun, super cool.
I didn't know what to do. He was running an Argus and a Wolfhound. That's the 3,000 point combo. So I had the Argus and the Wolfhound. I'm like, what do I name a group that has an Argus? I don't know. It's Jason and the Argonauts. Perfect. Yeah. And it's the 4D, so it's got the rack on it. So I just sit there and throw shells at things.
But the fun thing is that there's so many other mechs that you can take later, like as you expand your force, that you can just keep that going. Like you can take that pun and take it all the way to level 3.
The goal eventually is to find on a random assignment table a Hercules, so I can put that in the group, because
it's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I want to get a Hercules in there. But no, the game was fun. We also played the recon mission, so again, more scanning. And the issue was we had a third person show up at the game shop with no partner. So Violet was there, and I was like, well, I don't really like the idea of seeing someone sit there, sit on their hands and not play. So I said, look, why don't you sit down? We're playing on a neoprene battle mat. We're playing scale 1. So I grabbed another 3,000 points, and I, like a chess grandmaster, played 2 games at the same time. And it was great. We played the same mission. I just, we just rolled initiative together, and we kind of went phase by phase, and I played on both mats. And the other table, I had my pillager. So just one unit, just this giant beef stick of Gauss rifles and lasers. And what was great about that is this is the same Violet who brought that Lyran assault lance, or when I was trying to do the Clan Star.
Yeah.
And she had brought all the heavy improved Gauss rifles. So now my pillager had 2 Gauss rifles on it. And I'm like, yes, karma is a fickle god. And I put a Gauss rifle round straight through her dervish's face. And that felt so good. And I was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. But if I'm being honest, I'm not really that sorry, because you shot me with so many Gauss rifles. It had to come back to you.
It's like that scene in Thor Ragnarok when Hulk smashed the Thor around, and Loki's like, yeah, now you know what it feels like. Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it was comeuppance, and it felt great. And Josh, you'll get a kick out of this. So Violet brought the Dervish, but she also brought the Hollander too, with the heavy Gauss rifle.
Yeah.
That was dead on turn 3. I just shot it and it died.
Yeah,
they do that. If you shoot them, they die.
I got to the right torso and I hit the heavy Gauss rifle, and that was it. That was it. There's no case. There's nothing there.
It's a bullet magnet, man. Like, you hate to say it, but it ain't there for a long time. It's barely there for a good time.
It's doing so much damage. It's got to go. Yeah. And in her defense, she ran it up and over a hill, so it had like a TMM of 1. And I'm like, now it's going to die. That's the time. But of course, on the other map, I was playing Keegan, and he had his, it was the Mantis group, and he brought a Marauder 5M and a Longbow 14C, which is the MML longbow that's full of LRMs and SRMs, which is an absolute monster. And I love it.
Yeah,
because
my favorite.
I didn't know what kind of longbow it was. And I'm like, oh, great, this longbow. I'm going to go get it. And I got up there, and it's like, I guess I'll shoot SRAMs. And I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah.
It was a calculated risk, but man, I'm bad at math. And it's
got like, 9 MML7s firing SRMs or something like that. It's a lot.
I think they're MML9s.
Okay, there's 7. It's 7 MML9s then. It's one of the 9 and 7.
Yeah, it's a lot. It was a lot. It was not good. I did manage to take it down, though. I got through its armor and took its leg out, so it fell over, and that was kind of it. The Marauder, however, has jump jets, and after it scanned me, it decided to jump off the field. And I would have claimed salvage, but the mission for recon says no salvage available.
Right.
So I lost to Keegan by 100 objective points, and I murdered Violet into the dirt. And, of course, when we got the head hit on the Dervish, we had to do skin of the teeth. And there was an elevation change, and the way that we rolled, we had ruled that the pilot ejected and did not survive as it smucked upon the side of the mountain that was behind it. And Violet said, you know what? I'm going to botch it, and she's going to be mad at me, but it was like her group was called like the Mediocre Warriors or something like that. And the pilot's name were Meaty Ann and Ava Rage. And Ava Rage was the one that splatted against the wall. So she took the rest of her C-bills and had a grief bender and retired the group
early. Yeah.
It's like, well, okay. I guess I killed a mercenary company there. That was not my intention, but
Steve,
sometimes these things happen.
this is why the Archer and Catapult pilots always put insurance payouts on the brawlers.
Right. But it was a fun match. I got to give out a chip for Keegan, which was cool because that was his first game in the community, which felt great. And it was nice to just play a game for fun without having to, kind of mitigate damage like you would in a campaign game.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, for my games played, we can put 60 seconds on the clock, and I can recount a Halo Flashpoint tournament if we want.
I don't know how the game works,
Exactly.
Josh. You can say I rolled dice, they were D8s and not D6s, and everything was weird, and I won.
Exactly.
And that's about all I need to know.
All right.
I admit I will have 0 questions as well.
All right. I'm going to put like 30 seconds on the clock. All right. And go. So yeah, round 1, I'm taking 3 Spartans. I'm taking my Mark 7, a Brawler, and a Deadeye. I'm just taking starter set guys. Round 1, Slayer. I'm literally fighting a copycat of the winning Adepticon like grand tournament list. And I was like, oh, I see how this game is not funnily played. So I proceeded to get my butt kicked against the sweatiest net list possible. Game 2, I played a new guy, and unfortunately the mission was if I kill you, you get bonuses to move towards the King of the Hill.
Oh.
So I literally just didn't shoot him for like 4 turns while he killed me, letting me respawn closer to the hills. And then game 3, I unfortunately whooped some poor ODST boys with an oddball. Grabbed it, smacked them, and watched as their shots pinged off my Spartan armor. And I was like, you know what? This is pretty fun casually. Don't know about it if it's competitively. So, but hey, I got second. I got I got more points than the guy who won, but it's a win-loss thingy, so I got second. Yeah, it's whatever.
Was that the guy that you lost to round 1?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Sure. Okay. Well, that's not bad.
Well, it's out. The competitive Halo is out of my system. I'll put it that way. All right, let's move on.
I mean, there's a mech called a Spartan, so that kind of...
And I took it and played Jack Attack right after that tournament. And it died badly. It died twice. After I literally hey, mind if I swap that sheet in for a Spartan with case? He was like, yeah, please. Oh, I hit the other bin now? Or no, it had 5 structure left. And it's like, all right, that's a medium laser. The mongoose behind you is a medium laser. It's like, ugh.
Zap.
All right. Any tails, or we saving that for Reach?
I don't have any.
I finished one contract with the Hogs, and it was a 6-month contract. It was brutal. I had played my buddy Carl, who brought us Tori's Last Chancers, and we'd been playing this for probably 3 months. We'd come over and play a game here and there. It's been a long time coming. We finally finished it. And every single game, one of our pilots was walking off the field with 4 or 5 hits. It was awful. These people are going to be in the hospital for months at a time. So it was a knockdown, drag out fight every game. And no one died, oddly enough, but it was brutal. So the Hogs are licking their wounds in the meantime.
Hogs became pigs.
That's, yeah.
All right. We got any upcoming events?
So in truth, I did forget about one event that I want to tell you guys about. This is for an event across the pond, the UK Games Expo, May 29th through 31st. There's a ton of different stuff going on with a lot of great prizes. There's the official UK Open competition, Alpha Strike tournaments, classic BattleTech tourneys. You've got, you can roll dice with different BattleTech legends, including Chris Hartford, Daniel Eisenberner, Lorgan Nagel. You've got people from the Sarna team, Megamech folks, Camo Specs Online, and CDT agents. It's a great place for community meetups and learning how to play, and there are different masterclasses with Camo Specs Online people. So a really great opportunity. We'll put links for the bookings at the UK Games Expo website in the show notes, and you can find more by seeking out the UK BattleTech Discord. We learned about this from Adam M., who's heading up a good portion of the UK BattleTech community. So thank you for sending in the event, and I hope it goes well for you guys. Good luck.
All right. Well, we do have some fan mail. Then I'll turn the mic back to you, Steve.
Yeah, we got an email from Mike Whitaker, who's a fan of the podcast and on the Discord all the time. We see him. And he's also podcasting in the UK as Tales from the Periphery. So excited to have him right in. He recently ran the Peterborough Crown Tourney in the UK as a classic list builder tournament using apparently our Southern Assault rule packet as kind of a guidepost for how we wanted to do it. And, you know, he didn't do like a total calculation of painting and sportsmanship like we did for Southern Assault, but he took our missions and the general vibe of everything that we did here. So we did a Civil War era restriction, and he kind of didn't use quite as many bells and whistles because he's apparently got a less experienced player base out that way. So he said it went really well. He gave us a lot of feedback as some of our kind of rules that we picked and our missions that we ran, because he ran it basically the same way. And he said it was great and everybody loved it. There was not a lot of complaining, which is always good to hear from a fellow TO. And he thanked us and thought it was great. So, you know, just want to thank Mike for writing in and telling us about the event that he ran. And I'm glad to hear it went well.
Yeah, man, me too. Like that's super cool. I super enjoy hearing stories like that, like a lot. Makes me feel like we're doing something good.
We're doing something. Is it good? That's for everyone else to determine. So thank you, Mike. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get into our advanced battle armor lesson.
Hartford Co. Industries, the original heatsink manufacturer. Hartford Co. Industries traces its lineage back to before the clan invasion and before the rediscovery of freezers. Hartford Co. remembers a time when both Hans Davian and our heatsinks were single. Your great-grandfather trusted his life to the skilled engineers at Hartford Co., who for 600 years provided the finest quality single heatsinks that Seville could buy. When restoring your family heirloom, keep it authentic. Keep it a Hartford.
All right, and we are back. And we've stocked up on our jump jets and heat sinks after that one. All right, Denim, Steve, battle armor. What did they know? Did they know things? Let's find out.
They're just little guys.
They are just little guys. But what are they really? Are they little guys? Because we have littler, and we talked about them. We had a whole episode. We had to have the conventional infantry episode when Denim wasn't here.
I got to be honest, I listened to that episode and I was kind of screaming at it a little bit in the car.
I know.
I was.
So now you're here for the battle armor episode.
I am. So thankfully I can chime in.
So battle armor is what I would say is between conventional infantry and not mech. I don't want to say mech, but between that and proto mech.
Yeah. They're definitely the in-between of regular infantry and proto mechs. For sure.
I think these should be the regular infantry of BattleTech.
Thank you, Steve.
I do not care for conventional infantry, but this is how they ought to function.
Back in my day, when we started, there was only conventional infantry, and I got to be honest. Once these guys came out, I was done with conventional infantry. Everything that conventional infantry could do, these guys could do, and they do it better. They do it more concisely. They do it with less adding hours to the game.
I mean, that goes in the next one. Why would we take battle armor instead of conventional infantry?
I mean, honestly, if you're a clan player and you're trying to field anything, 3,000 points doesn't go very far with clan mechs, and you don't want to walk out there with just 2 mechs. So you got to bring some battle armor. You got to bring something that will do some work that isn't super expensive.
I like taking them because they're fun and unique, and because they take up such a small percentage of my forces BV that I can swap them out on a day by day. I've got 500 BV allowance for my battle armor of what I'm feeling that day. I can't do that with the clan mech. So
they also do work, like an equivalent 500 BV of mech. I'll take a battle armor any day.
Yeah, I have to admit, I have previously taken them simply as ablative armor.
And that is an acceptable answer. Everyone can take a battle armor, and what they use it for is up to them and how they want to play the game that day.
I mean, RPG campaign narrative-wise, they're great. They're really great for narrative play. Super great. But if we're just talking about pick-me-up games, pickup games, they're good. They're just a solid unit.
Why wouldn't we take battle armor?
Ooh, I know.
Go, Denim, go.
Artillery. If you're playing on any map that has any sort of area of effect damage going out there, they will just disappear, and you will feel so bad for taking them.
We'll get to that later. That's a rules thing. But why wouldn't you take them in general?
Because the game is BattleTech, and it's about giant stompy robots, and little men's in armor are not giant stompy robots.
Correct answer, Steve.
Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. 100 points,
Yay.
Steve. Denim, you're rejected.
You're just bitter. That's all.
I would not take battle armor because they slow the game down more than I think that it's intended to. Just because
that's literally why we're doing this episode. Yeah, is to keep that from happening. But yeah.
But even with all the things we're going to tell you about, they still slow the game down. Just by being another unit with more non-mech actions and activities to do. So
I agree. I've argued for them to go into a tournament before, and then watching how much longer the games take at the tournament. I mean, it just takes a small percentage of people to slow it down, and it does. It slows it down.
I'm one of those small percent of players. I don't run it very often, so when I do, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. So,
all right. The next one, what makes one battle armor different from another? Because mechs are all pretty much the same. It's just you got to stretch them one way or another. Is this the fast guy or is this the slow shooty guy?
I mean, you kind of have that with battle armor. You got the ones that don't jump and they've got a lot of armor and bigger weapons. You've got the super super fast ones that have almost no armor, but they've got stealth armor and they can jump 4. So yeah, you get the little guys, you get the big guys, you get the guys who have wheels, you get the guys who run, you get the guys who fly.
So really it's the same thing. There's not any difference between
just what flavor do you want?
Yeah, it's what flavor. And Steve's like, yeah, battle armor be battle armor. It's okay. It's okay.
I can't hear you nod, Steve.
No, I know it's a Star Wars meme. They fly now. I mean, it's, they all do different stuff. I find I use them more in Alpha Strike than I do in Classic. And I feel like sometimes, at least for me, when I look at these sheets, because I don't use them often in Classic, I can better differentiate stuff in Alpha Strike than I can in Classic, just because I don't know what I'm looking for. Right. So Denim's talking about the big slow ones that have a ton of armor. Or do a ton of damage. You've got your gnomes, right? Gnomes are great for that. And you got your elementals that jump, right? So they're just different flavors of the same thing.
Well, the Tortoise 2 was legendary in Alpha Strike.
Well, legendary in the bad way. It was extremely problematic. And even to this day, even after the BV fix, they're still pretty gnarly. So.
All right. Here's the next question. How much do we use battle armor in general? Every game, every other game, once in a while.
I'm certainly a once in a while type of guy, and mostly only on Mega Mech, because pulling out the book for the rules, it's not in the BMM, and that's normally what I bring to the game table. So if I don't have Total Warfare handy, I won't even try it. In Alpha Strike, I use them pretty regularly. They're good for all sorts of stuff in Alpha Strike, but I don't use armor. I don't use battle armor very often.
I use it a lot more frequently than that. Not every game or every other game even, but if we're doing that, then like every third or fourth game, I like to sprinkle some in. It helps that I've got the little booklet from the clan expansion box, which has all the elemental rules in a nice, easy, concise place to look them up. And I've used them a lot before, so it's not like I have to look up most of the rules. I like them as a unit, though. I do. So I will take them more off, especially now that the Karita Lance has Omnimex, has Inner Sphere Omnis, and I will even bring all those fancy Inner Sphere battle armor out there as well. So yeah.
Yeah, for my casual games, I'm probably like 1 out of every 3 games I'm bringing a battle armor. And that's normally just because, I'm taking an Omni-Mech with me that day. So let me do the thing that Omni-Mechs can do.
Exactly. I feel bad bringing an Omni-Mech without some sort of battle armor contingent. I do.
Because a lot of my favorite battle armor is a lot slower and can't ride Omnis. And it's like, okay, well, then I have to like, hey, can we play with vehicle rules so I can mount up and transport it to the middle of the table? And that's not super fun and thrilling for a casual game. So yeah, the selection suffers from their rules, which is not a great feeling.
I hope that all of the battle armor and infantry rules are worked over again. So yeah, like there's definitely room for improvement.
Oh,
You're going to go down that way.
But let's not get too wishy-washy on here. Let's talk about some rules as they are, because I know Steve needs a big old injection of Inner Sphere battle armor tactics.
I would love that.
All right, before we get into all the rules, we need to address the elephant in the room. There is BSP battle armor, and there is Total Warfare battle armor. Denim, you are very passionate about everything. I should say
BSPs,
BattleTech.
yeah.
So I would be remiss if I did not give you the soapbox to get it off your chest.
I appreciate that, because I do. Like, anyone who listens to this podcast knows that I am a fan of the battlefield support stuff. I love how they do that. I like the vehicles a lot, except for battle armor. I know that they have battle armor in there, but the way that they distill it down into its basic components, I think it just doesn't capture the essence of the battle armor, and it just becomes just another vehicle instead of something cool. So although I will use battlefield support vehicles a whole lot, I will never, ever, ever willingly use battle armor as a BSP, ever.
Yeah, I've played a bunch, and it suffered from immediately out the gate. Like, why would I use this? Because battle armor has to be very high in the initiative, or I should say very close to the end, because they have a lot more limited movement options, and BSPs have to move before mechs. So I was like, okay, so these aren't as effective. They do get the bonus of Swarm, which is they add another group of damage to their short range, and if they're adjacent. And I was like, okay, that's cool, but it only works against other BSPs, really. And we're not playing with as many BSPs.
Exactly. So the swarm attacks are completely different in the way they do it. And it's such a cool concept and such a cool idea. And there's so many books and novels that describe that sort of thing. And for them to just distill it down to, you get an extra D6 for damage is just, it feels bad.
It's not an extra D6. It's an extra 5.
Extra 5 points?
Yeah. Yeah, they just add another of their groups on.
But not an extra 5d6. It's just
just 5 damage. So
yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's just an extra 5 damage just doesn't feel right.
Now I will say, with the new revamp of the core rule books, I'd be curious to see if they change some of this, because I know when we talked to them about BSP changes, they were going to be able to operate much more independently. So maybe that would solve the initiative issue Josh was talking about. Right, to make battle armor BSPs worthwhile. I don't know. Yep. I don't really use them. I took them one time for one of those, you must load cargo onto a, you know what I mean? Because I had hands. I needed them to do the lifting, but I was not overly impressed. So, yeah.
And also, there was only 2 available elementals and Intersphere battle armor. And I was like, one of these is a lot better than the other one. Yeah. None of them are like, they're not, they're the poster boys, but they don't do the work. Like, I need either trash or like super mission specific, and neither of those were doing it. So
obviously, when the core rulebook comes out, we will touch on BSPs and how they've changed. But I was just letting you two know that when I'm talking about battle armor here on this podcast today, I am only going to be talking about the full Total Warfare rules. I'm not going to be talking about them as battlefield support units.
All right. Well, we ready to crack it open and talk about some Total Warfare rules?
Yes.
All right. Let's start with movement, because I feel like we have to start with movement. If you don't know how to move the unit, you don't know how to do anything. So,
and they have some weird kind of cool movement things. So yeah, it's definitely the way to start.
Yeah. First off, just like conventional infantry, they have no hex facing. They got full 360. And you know what? I'm pretty jealous about that every time, because not even Protomechs get full 360.
Yeah. Because, you got what, 4 to 6 of them, and they could just be standing around looking in any direction they want.
Yeah.
You're not going to sneak up on them.
It makes sense. I understand that how that works. There's not a lot of movement time. It's just, And then it gets even crazier. Jumping, they jump just like a mech. They get the full team in bonus for jumping.
Yep.
I don't like that. That's too much.
Really?
Like, yeah, Steve's nodding his head.
They're little guys. I mean,
they're just little guys.
They're little guys.
So it's a cloud of guys that are jumping all at the same time. Like, you're not going to just point and shoot at that. That's not going to work. So I think they deserve that sort of TMM bonus for sure.
Yes.
If they're jumping as far as a mech, like we're not talking about physics, because physics for mechs jumping doesn't work anyway. So whatever is granting a mech that plus extra to movement when it jumps, the elementals absolutely should get that.
Oh yeah. But it's that extra TMM bonus for the jumping that gets me. I was like, did they really need that? No, they were probably moving just as fast on the ground as they were in the air.
You flush out a bunch of birds when you're out there with your shotgun and see if it's easy to pick one out of the sky when they just all go out as a cloud. You see.
I read the 2-kid flechette artillery scene. I'm good. But yeah, so that is probably the most common thing that we see is battle armor will almost always be jumping, because they get the jumping bonus just like a mech. And when we get to shooting, they don't care about the movement for the shooting purposes, the attacker modifier.
Right. I mean, they get all kinds of bonuses. So if we're going to talk about battle armor jumping, they can jump. Most of them that can jump like 3 hexes. So you get a +1 for jumping 3 hexes. And then because they're jumping, they get the additional +1 on top of that. But battle armor are also special because they work as a small unit. So they're kind of dispersed and spread out. So they automatically get an additional +1 bonus on top of that. So a battle armor unit that jumps 3 hexes gets a +3 TMM, and they have a +0 modifier for shooting.
I mean, there's no downside to jumping with battle armor. So you jump them all the time if they can jump. But why would you take something that can't jump?
Because sometimes you're the inner sphere.
Why would you do that? That's a choice.
Because it's playing BattleTech the way Blake intended.
Oh, no.
And for the battle armor that doesn't jump, they still get some bonuses that I would say 99% of clan players do not realize battle armor get.
I didn't know this part. I learned something today. Yeah.
All right. Here's the fun fact, folks. Terrain. You get discounts for walking into some terrain. Lightwoods, it only counts as 1 MP. So, moving from 1 hex that's clear into 1 hex that has light woods. If you were a mech, that would cost 2. 1 to get into the hex, 1 because there's light woods. Battle armor? Walking battle armor does not care about the light woods. it's free.
Yeah. I mean, yay, like that, because they're infantry and trees are big and you just walk around the tree. I get that. But most battle armor, most of them, not all of them, most of them only have one movement point for walking. Like, and then they can move into whatever. Anything that's legal, it still only costs one because of minimum movement rules.
Yeah.
I know there are some battle armor out there that really don't jump, but they can move 3 or 4 hexes.
See, I thought this did them until I read all my rules for my Lyran list at Brawl in the Bluegrass and realized my Rottweilers that walk 5 do not have to worry about Lightwood slowing them down. And
that's true. They could walk 5 right through.
That changed a lot of how I played.
They don't have it facing either, so they don't have to turn a hex. They can just move 5 hexes no matter what.
And as you may have listened in the episode, it was very critical that they were able to move up 10 hexes by turn 2 and start spotting. I was like, yeah, when I played them last year, I was playing the Light Woods count as 2. And I was like, oh, but this move 5 is really just walk 3 because I'd have to go into a woods.
But my point is not very many battle armor have a movement over that's even close to 5.
Yeah. But the ones that do.
But I think that's also why you see those same battle armor used all the time, because that's a pretty huge benefit.
For tournaments and things like that, absolutely. Like that's one of those things that they're like, oh, okay, this is something special that I can exploit for this strategy.
Yeah.
So absolutely.
And as we all know, I think it's only effective in the RPG. I don't know. I know some battle armor have the weapon pod, and they cannot jump until they've jettisoned the pod, like the Baka Intersphere battle armor.
Most Intersphere battle armor that have SRMs can fire the SRMs, but they can't jump until they eject it, whether they fired it or not. They have to eject the SRM casing before they're allowed to jump.
So there are battle armor that have all the loaded guns but can't do anything until, can't jump, I should say.
Right.
So it's one of those things that those are already slow, so the minimum movement rule applies and they can walk in the woods. But the clan player in Denim says, no, just jump. Just take jump battle armor. Don't worry about this.
Yeah.
So changing one level for battle armor is 2 MP.
Or just jump.
This is why we did conventional infantry without him. So does changing one level for 2 MP change a lot? No, but it definitely slows you down. And that's why jumping is just so good, because mobility is just so good.
Also, they can only change one level change. They cannot go up 2 levels.
Okay. Steve, you tagging along on this one?
I'm following. No, I mean, and that makes sense. I mean, you're looking at say you have a cliff face and you got, 5 guys that need to climb up this cliff face. I mean, it's going to take them a minute to do, right? They're small. They're just little guys.
They're so cute.
Now, here's the one that I'm going to go with 99.9% of people did not know. Buildings. Because here's the thing. Mechs can go into buildings, but they don't do great in buildings. They do a lot of damage to the building. But battle armor and infantry, they can go into buildings. That's what they're meant to be. They open that door, they just walk in, they queue up. It's really cute. Walking into a building hex, they pay 1 MP to enter, and they can only walk from one building hex to another. So they get in their clear, open, they walk into a building. They don't need a door. All building hexes have doors somehow.
If you're an elemental, you just walk right through the wall. It's okay. The window's not going to stop you. A normal wall isn't going to stop you. You'll find a way in.
Yeah.
You're designed for that.
Are the Kool-Aid Man confirmed?
Oh, yeah.
And here's where the jumping is the problem. Because if you want to jump into a building hex, you have to pay 1 jump MP. You can enter up to that jump elevation. So if you jump 3, you can enter up to jump elevation 3. You must make an anti-mech roll or take damage, because you are aiming for a window. You're not gonna, you don't fit the standard, SLDF standard window size. So
you really have to break through the side of the building.
Yeah. It's really the Kool-Aid Man, but he jumps now.
And if you make that roll, you actually literally do a shoulder roll when you land and come up. It's very dramatic. It looks super cinematic.
So I had to look at the example. You actually do have to pay the +1 for jumping in this one. I was like,
really?
what? Yeah. And then it has listed out, so light buildings is +0, medium +1, heavy +2, and then hardened +5. So if you've got like a hardened bunker and your average elemental is jumping in, that's actually a pretty tough roll because it's a +5 for the construction factor type, +1 for the jumping, and then your anti-mech skill. So
yeah, and then hitting those windows in the hardened they're tiny. They're tiny windows. You just slam into the wall. It hurts.
Unfortunately, it's only one dude who takes the damage. So light building, it's 2 damage. Medium is 3, heavy is 4, and then a hardened is 5. It's not every trooper takes one. One dude has to go first and make the hole, apparently.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
I was like, this is dumb. This is just dumb.
I mean, this is something where I think in the core, or maybe not in the core rules, but in the next rule book they come through, this might be streamlined a hair, right? This starts to get a little ticky-tack, but it is neat.
I mean, I like it. And then, of course, you have to pay 1 MP to change a level to go up, stairs or down a stairs. So,
or wait for the elevator. One of the two.
Yeah. So, I don't know. This taking the time to read about buildings and battle armor, I was like, we could have those big city fights, and they still wouldn't be that fun. But at least now I could enter the buildings.
Battle armor and buildings go together really, really well. They are definitely the chocolate and peanut butter of the BattleTech world. Yeah. They work really well in there. Setting up ambushes, taking cover. I mean, they take less damage. It's just, if you've got a building and you've got battle armor, you really need to put the battle armor in there. That's the best place for it.
Why do we never do it then? Is it just because building destruction rules are too hard?
Not when you got battle armor. Those guys will just jump out the window. It's fine.
I should say leaving the building is free. Jumping into the building, that's the rolls and the damage. So,
okay, it's true. They take less damage until the building collapses on them. I mean, there is that.
Yeah, and we'll get to that.
But until then, like it's just free cover. You absorb so much damage if your battle armor are in a building. Absorb so much. They last so much longer.
All right.
You just gotta trick the bad guys into getting close to the building, though.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's still not all of movement because we haven't talked about mounting and dismounting battle armor.
It's true. Sometimes you just don't move fast enough, so you need someone else to take you there faster.
All right. Who wants to lead off on the mounting and dismounting? Who's the battle armor mount expert?
I'm not, but I have a question. So I will pose this to you two because I looked at this section in preparation for this episode. And I have always started my games with my battle armor mounted, which you're allowed to do. So they're riding on an omni-mech and they race off to the battlefield and I drop them off and they get murdered or whatever they do. It doesn't matter. I have never had a situation where I wanted to pick my dudes back up. So when I was reading this, it says the elemental unit must start its movement phase in the same hex as the carrier, and the carrier's movement must be complete. So effectively, if I'm reading this correctly, the only way to truly mount battle armor on an omni-mech is to have the mech move first into the same hex as the elemental, and then the elementals can get on their turn. But that doesn't make sense because it says they have to start their movement phase in the same hex as the carrier. So does the mech have to stand still?
The mech moves over, so the mech will finish its movement in the hex that the battle armor are in. So the mech has now moved over and has stopped and it has finished its movement there. The elementals begin their movement phase in the hex, like their movement turn.
Okay, it says their movement phase, which is not the same.
But it's the elementals movement phase.
Okay, maybe I'm getting locally on the language, but that's not how that reads. So.
There's a lot of language in these books that is not perfect.
Okay, so as long as the elementals have not moved yet and they begin their movement activation,
yes,
and the unit they want to climb onto has finished its movement, that's permitted.
Yes.
That is how I've always played it in Mega Mech, and that's how Mega Mech lets me do it. That's
right. If Mega Mech lets you do it, that means that somebody has had that conversation and determined that is the intent of the rules from Total Warfare. That is correct.
Okay. All right. So maybe I'm just getting too particular with my start phase.
Lawyering it.
What?
No. That's mounting is hard. It's why we just hand wave it at the beginning.
Yeah. So okay. Well, that clarifies that for me. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. So, and that is how you do Omni, but it's also the same as if you were doing like a APC or something. And your non-jumping capable battle armor, the transport has to have moved or, be not able to move, and then they use their movement to get in.
To embark. Okay, so embarking is the same as mounting.
But for like an APC, you've got to have a lot of space in there because I believe that every battle armor is like an elemental suit is treated as like a ton all by itself.
We're not getting the TAC Ops rules where we actually take the actual battle armor weight. No, we just use simplified. Each battle armor suit is 1 ton.
That's what I said, right? 1 ton?
Yes, yeah. But the TAC Ops rule is no, use the actual tonnage of the battle.
No, yeah, suit. we're not. Yeah,
I was like, you're saying it. I was like, he's hinting at it.
No, I wasn't going to go there. I wasn't going to go that deep. I was just saying that you need a big APC because if you're going to carry 5 battle armor, you need to have 5 tons of cargo space to do so.
Yes,
it's a lot.
All right.
And those boys are bulky.
It's better to just have them climb out on top of it.
Yeah. Dismounting.
Is it better for them to jump? It's just better for them to jump than them.
Once they've been dismounted, just jump them all over the place.
Dismounting. That's the real easy one. The transport finishes its move, and they are deployed in that hex. That's it.
Yep. I mean, there is a caveat. If, say, the transport is a mech and it runs into a hex that already has 2 elementals, 2 battle armor units in there, you can't fit 3 on your team in a hex. So if it dismounts, it will then go to whatever hex adjacent to it that you choose. So that is the only way that it doesn't end up in your hex, is if that happens. But that's a big outlier. You're not going to run into that much.
A little bit of a corner case there, but still good to know.
They're still allowed to dismount. That's the important part.
When they dismount, though, they cannot shoot. They cannot do anything. Cannot spot. Cannot anything. Like
they're spending their 10 seconds getting themselves on the ground safely.
Yeah, and they only get the the attack modifier for +1 because they are a small target. That is it.
Correct. And they only get that against other mechs. They don't get it against any other sort of infantry, including other battle armor.
Yeah. So it's there when they're most vulnerable.
Yeah. That's when you shoot them. That's when they dismount. That's your time to attack.
All right, Steve. That was a lot. That was like 20 minutes of just movement. Yep. Sure, we birdwalked a little bit on buildings and Kool-Aid Mans and all that, but it's necessary, I'd say. We got urban maps now. I have to legally talk about building rules.
We have a BFM urban map now.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. People are going to be playing on that stuff.
Oh, man, I cannot wait.
So, how you feel about movement?
I mean, it's not crazy. Nothing here strikes me as wildly, unintuitive. I think some of the more ticky-tack stuff, I think some of the problems that I have experienced in the past are going to be in the coming up sections here. And I can tell a short story about that when we get there. But no, movement's pretty good. I learned a lot about moving into woods because I kind of just jumped them everywhere. I didn't actually know that, so it was a good thing to learn. And I have not personally put battle armor into buildings just yet. So
for campaigns, I highly recommend it. It's a good surprise.
All right. We want to move on to shooting, the fun part.
So after they've dismounted and they've not shot their turn, now they can shoot.
Yeah, the next turn comes around.
Yeah. Now they're dangerous.
All right. Here's the fun part. It's per the same weapon. So if you have 5 battle armor suits and they all have the same small laser, you roll once to see if the whole group's small laser hits.
Yes.
If they have 2 small lasers, like per suit, you get to roll 1 for the 1 small laser and another roll for the second small laser.
Yep.
So they're just like cluster weapons.
Well, sort of, yeah. So each individual weapon system gets its own discrete roll.
Yeah. But if each suit has 2 of the same, it's 1 roll for one and 1 roll for the other.
Exactly.
If you look on the sheet, it'll be like small laser 2. Like they have each suit has 2. You don't roll for the total. If 5 guys had 2 small lasers each, it'd be 10 small lasers, 1 roll. No. You roll 2.
2 groups of 5.
Yeah.
But then you have to roll cluster to see how many of those hit.
Correct.
And then, so, all right, in this example, we only have 1 small laser. I roll once, I hit. I then have to roll on the cluster 5 to see how many of the 5 guys actually hit the target.
Now, this is something that screws me up because I think I want to roll on the cluster 5 table, but inevitably 2 of my guys are dead. So then I have to roll on the cluster 3 table.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because those guys don't have lasers.
Yep. And that stinks.
The only time you don't roll is if you only have 1 guy left. If you roll to hit and it hits, he just hits. You don't roll. There's no 1 cluster table.
I mean, there is a 1 cluster table and you just hit.
Yeah.
So we've rolled cluster to see how many hit. Let's say 3 hit, 3 small lasers. We then have to roll each location for each of the small lasers. So that 1 roll and then that cluster roll turns into 3 separate, because we rolled only 3 small lasers, turns into 3 locations.
Yep.
And each location will take then 3 damage.
So how about if, because a lot of elementals have SRM2s, if 5 of them fire SRM2s, then what do you do?
That's when it breaks down, because then you have to add up the entirety of the SRM amount.
How many individual missiles hit, which is 10.
Yeah.
There's 10 missiles. So you don't roll on the cluster 5 and do it like 5 SRM2s hit. Nope. You count up all the missiles and you're firing physically 10 missiles. So you roll on the 10 cluster table and then do each missile individually.
This is when the rules lost me. And I was like, why?
I have a question.
Yeah.
We've got laser systems and we've got missile pods on our elementals, because obviously elementals are the best. Am I allowed to shoot my lasers at one dude and then shoot my missiles at another like I would be like any other mech?
Yes.
Now, each individual weapon system, like your small lasers, they all have to go at the same target. Everyone's shooting their lasers at the one target. But you can fire as many secondary targets as you have other weapons. So in Josh's example above, where the elementals had 2 small lasers on their suit, they could fire their left arm. All the left arms go at one target. All the right arms go at a different target. And then the SRM2 could be fired at a 3rd target if they wanted to. And since there's no, they look in 360, all secondary targets are +1. There's no +2 for a different firing arc, because there is no firing arc for elementals or battle armor.
Now I'm just imagining elementals in some sort of John Woo movie where they're jumping and shooting forward, back, behind, upside down, doing flips and stuff.
You got it. That's how I see it every time.
Wild.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's pretty cool. I mean, if their range was better than 2 hexes, yeah.
Oh, you just wait. We haven't gone over favorite elementals yet.
And we touched on that it's only a +1 for the secondary target.
Any other secondary target.
Yep. So even a tertiary on the wild chance, it's just another
tertiary behind them, because there is no behind. So it's always a +1.
Yeah. All right. Here's one that messes up a lot of new players, because I see them taking Kage battle armor. That SSW, that stands for Squad Support Weapon. You know which trooper that's on? It's on trooper number 1.
That's right.
The lead
He's
guy.
the best.
And normally that is a completely different weapon that only he has. And you roll that, again, separately. So one squad can have a lot of little rolls that do nothing.
So does it just say it is a squad support weapon, or does it actually, are there different flavors of squad support weapon?
If you get into the RPG, you can find a dozen or 3 different types of squad support weapons. So yeah, there are differences with different ranges and different damages, but it's not going to make that much difference to you if you're playing the regular tabletop game.
Okay. Because I had not seen an SSW before.
Oh, yeah. They're not.
Yeah,
they're
not
super common.
Play a lot of the weird. Like I said, I'd say in the 3060s is when you see a lot of that. This is the support PPC that one trooper is carrying.
Okay, so back up. I just pulled up the Kage Light Battle Armor Laser variant.
Mm-hmm.
These have a partial wing.
Yep.
2 armored gloves, and 1 small laser SSW Trooper 1. So out of these 5 guys, they have 1 gun between them.
In that kit out, yes. Because
I'm just trying to make sure I'm reading the packet correct, or
essentially
the sheet correctly.
Those are a weird one where it's like, oh, we get like normal infantry guns, and there's 1 anti-mech grade gun.
Because Kage light battle armor are not designed to go up against hard targets like mechs. They're designed to stealthily infiltrate buildings. They're the ones who are doing the special forces job. Like they're the Sam Fishers of the BattleTech world. They are going in there doing a stealthy mission and getting out. And the squad support weapon is there if they encounter a vehicle. It's not going to take out a mech, but they could shoot that hover tank that's trying to chase them down. That's all that's for. And if they have to use that, they're in trouble anyway.
I'm learning so much.
It's a lot. And the more you play against battle armor, the more you'll see this and you'll be like, what is that? The next one, the APW mount. I've seen this a lot. And again, it's much more for that low scale. This is the anti-personnel weapon mount. This is just your basic infantry machine gun. But the game allows you to put any of the RPG like light weapons on it. And that's you literally regular machine gun all the way to your Mauser 960s can be mounted onto your like elemental suits.
Why wouldn't you want that one?
Exactly. But the basic one, just machine gun, like it literally says, treat this as normal rifle platoon gun. Yeah. Remember, you've only got 5 guys, Steve.
But if battle armor face off against infantry, it's just the infantry are dead.
Yeah,
they just are.
There's
no way they can handle that.
The math on the APW mount machine gun is like you get 2 extra damage maximum against a mech. It's not worth shooting. It's why Mega Mech doesn't let you do it. Just slows it down. And now I need to talk about shooting in buildings because it's my podcast and I get to choose the special interest. Yeah, each level or, hex counts as light woods if you're in a building shooting in a building.
Yeah, because you got your battle armor fighting against other battle armor because it's you're playing infantry wars now.
Yep. But line of sight is blocked if more than two hexes are intervening. And I was like, cool. So we're either fighting right next to each other or like 1 hex away, but that's it. It's like, don't fight in buildings, fight out of buildings.
But it makes for a fun
cinematic
narrative
game. Yeah.
Narrative games. Yes.
All right, so that's pretty much all the shooting.
So what happens when a battle armor does get shot, though? Like how do they take damage?
Look at me.
No, I just have to do that. This is the frustrating part. Unlike a mech, they just have little hit point bars. It's all the way from 1 to like 20. Like that is the range of health of armor represented on each guy, and each guy has his own bar of armor. So
because if you shoot a conventional infantry platoon, you just start marking off damage. You just XXXXX until all the damage you did to that unit is gone. But that's not how battle armor works at all.
No, conventional infantry, in my opinion, do it correctly, where it's a linear, you kill a couple guys, they do a couple less damage. Battle armor, no. You have to roll a dice and see which battle armor trooper you hit. Then you mark off his armor, and then the next thing hits, and you roll another dice. And you have to see where he gets, which trooper gets hit. And it's per weapon that hits. So it's almost like location, but there's 4 to 6 locations.
And this is what I think makes battle armor really dangerous.
Yes.
Is because battle armor is surprisingly durable, because if I roll 3 and I do 9 damage to this elemental and he's got 1 armor structure remaining, if I hit him with another PPC, well, 8 of that 10 damage is lost, right?
Yes.
It doesn't flow over to somebody else. I just hit Trooper 3 and he dies. But if I do 9 damage 2, Trooper 5, Trooper 4, Trooper 3, and Trooper 1, they have lost 0 battle effectiveness because they all do their damage every time, unless you kill them outright, which means you have to hit the same trooper twice, and there's not splash damage.
So, for example, elementals, like you're saying, they have 10 armor, but that doesn't count the one internal. So you have to do 11 points of damage to each one to kill one, which means that if you do it perfectly, then it is 55 points of damage you have to do to this unit. But it's very rare that you're going to get it perfectly. So say you've got an awesome. So he's got these 3 PPCs and he's firing at this squad of elementals. You have to hit that squad of elementals 10 times with your PPCs, your inner sphere PPCs that do 10 points of damage. You have to hit them 10 times to eliminate all 5 elementals. That is a lot of damage. That is 100 points of damage to take out this one squad of elementals.
Well, you're wasting 45 damage in that scenario because
you are.
I mean,
you hit them once and they go down to 1 point, and then you have to hit them again and waste 9 points. Yeah, they're deadly.
Yeah. And this is really why tough. I feel like battle armor takes too long on the shooting end of it. So when you play a game, it's like, okay, battle armor shooting, that's pretty simple. Yes, there's a little bit more cluster rolls and then location rolls. Like the damage splits in the diagram, like the flow chart makes more things. But on the receiving end, it's like, okay, you hit me. We then have to stop the normal 2d6 method and go to a 1d6 method. Except I'm probably not taking 6 guys. I'm either taking 4 or 5, and if I'm Comstar, maybe 6. Then we have to roll 1 dice and see which trooper takes it. And then when you get down to like 2 or 3, it's like, oh, all the times it misses, I have to re-roll until it hits.
Oh, the new sheets have different splits for that. So if you've only got 3 guys left, you roll on the 3 table. So that at least speeds it up a bit.
So, Josh, I have a question.
Yes.
That sounds like really, really good to have a bunch of guys that you just have to hit with all this damage. Is there a way to speed this up? Is there some kind of cheat that I can like hit everybody at once?
Area of effect weapon, Steve. You know that new thing that got teased when you all interviewed Keith Hahn about this saturation mode from RMs to solve all of our problems? Yeah, I feel like MRM stocks are going to be real high soon.
But yeah, not just MRMs, but anything with AE damage, like artillery, the bombs, anything with bombs. Just there's so many weapon systems out there that you can use. Yeah, so it's because they all hit. An area of effect weapon hits every unit in the hex. So if you have a mech and 5 battle armor, it's going to do its 10 points of damage to the mech, and then it's going to do 10 points of damage to each individual battle armor without any rolls. You don't roll to see who it hits. It hits all of them for the same amount of damage.
Now, what about like Inferno ammo? Because I know there's some weird rule, and I don't know what it is, that there's some weird rule about SRM Infernos that will just delete battle armor.
If you hit a unit with SRM Inferno rounds, every 3 Inferno rounds just deletes a random. So you just count up how many Inferno rounds hit that firing phase. You divide it by 3, and then that's how many battle armor that you just roll and say, okay, every time I roll this die, it just deletes that one guy.
So we were talking about that longbow earlier with the MML 9s.
Yes.
If I shot Inferno ammo of SRM 9s and I got a cluster roll of 6, 2 dudes just eat it.
Yep. 2 dudes are gone. You roll to see which ones, and they are just deleted, just gone.
Note to self, pack Inferno ammo.
But if you have an SRM2 Inferno, you never kill a guy. You have to have multiple SRM2 launchers, which is why, like back in the old days, Intersphere could only put Infernos into SRM2s. So a Shadowhawk, again, couldn't kill an elemental with it. He had to have multiple SRM2 launchers to be able to kill a single elemental.
And here's another thing that is not touched on a lot. If the battle armor has Infernos, which elementals aren't as much of a, issue in this, but like the Fenris SRMs, which have like 8 rounds of SRM4 ammo. Mm-hmm. If you load that with Inferno first off, you can swap out individually, so they don't have to be all. But let's say you do. Let's say you've got 8 rounds of Inferno SRM4 ammo. Whenever a battle armor trooper that is not equipped with fire-resistant armor and is carrying Inferno missiles at the moment it is eliminated, regardless of how much damage is inflicted, controlling player must immediately roll 2d6 on a roll of 8 up. The remaining Inferno ammo detonates. All units when the hex are treated as though they were successfully struck by that number of Inferno rounds.
Yeah, so they just disappear in a ball of fire.
So your opponent hits one of your dudes, he dies, he then explodes, and then will hit the rest of the squad with that number of Infernos.
I mean, it's their version of a stack pole explosion.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I didn't know that rule existed. That's amazing. I want to run these just to watch my own guys explode.
I was going to say, I've never seen that happen in a game yet. But I have seen plenty of people take like salamanders at battle armor with fire resistant armor, and then your Infernos do nothing to them.
Yeah. So
now, Josh,
Steve,
you said before that buildings count as light woods. That's for blocking line of sight. But let's say I don't have 2 levels of buildings between us and you shoot at me. I've got these tiny little murder hole windows that I just jump through. Do those give me any sort of benefit for my battle armor?
No, technically no. Only the type of building you're in gives you a benefit. So if you are in a building and you are being shot from outside the building, the battle armor cannot be directly targeted. They have, in between. I imagine every building in BattleTech is like your stereotypical 90 like movie office building. Like everything is little cubicle farm inside, and they're hiding behind all the cubes.
Wait, are you telling me that this is like the lobby scene in the Matrix where all the animals just hide behind those giant concrete pillars?
No, see, you're imagining concrete pillars. I'm just imagining staplers and cube farms.
Someone hides behind the office printer.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I imagined the Matrix lobby. No, so they can't be directly targeted. So you have to shoot the building first. You can target the hex that the battle armor in if you have line of sight. Like all those rules also apply. The infantry then take, depending on the type, if it's a light building, they take 75% of the damage, medium 50%, heavy 25%, and hardened 0% of the building's damage. So if you do 10 damage to the building, 10 damage to the building hex that the battle armor is in, and it's a medium building, they will take 50% of that. So they will then take 5, and then they take it in 5-point groupings. So essentially you want battle armor to be in as tough of a building as possible, especially a hardened armor building, because they can shoot out for free and you can shoot in for not free.
But even taking only 75% of the damage, even getting a 25% reduction, when you already have to do a minimum of 55 points to take out a squad, 25% more is like it's a lot. It adds up. It
like
takes
a whole
while
or 2.
Yeah. It takes so long to take out a squad of infantry of battle armor that are in buildings. So long. Yeah, actually, there's one really good way to do it, like really good way, and that's not worry about shooting the infantry themselves, but just blow up the building.
If you blow up the building, well, I should say, if a building hex collapses, because that's the technical term,
yes,
they take double damage from the collapse. Building collapse, arrow, how does that work? You take the construction factor, the health of the building at the start of the phase, and then you divide it by 10. So if a medium building had 50 health and then they put in 5 AC-10s, they destroyed it, it then collapses. 50 divided by 10, 5, and then they would take double that.
So 10. But you take it into 2 groups of 5. So they're going to be, unless they're already damaged, they're going to walk out of that alive.
So it's strong, but not. This is when it's like, okay, you could have just like
just bring in the artillery.
Yeah, artillery does not care. If they are in a building, it does not care.
Oh yeah. They get 0 damage reduction from artillery, even if they're in a building.
Area of effect. Yeah,
man.
Yes.
I just got to bring those BSP bombs, man. That's a must have.
In fact, the only time that artillery does not just do damage straight to the elementals is if they are mounted on a vehicle.
In
And
or
then
on,
that's that's the 1 through 4. It hits the vehicle. 5 and 6, it hits the battle armor.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because it's still groups of 5 damage.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the mech would shield it from the area of effect damage unless it happens to hit that torso on the mech, and then on a 5 or a 6, it hits the battle armor instead.
Huh.
So that's why when a mech comes in and deploys its battle armor, that's the turn that you launch the bombs, that you drop your BSP bombs on that hex. But you got to wait for them to drop them first.
These are so much scarier than I thought they were.
They're terrifying.
Before I was scared because I didn't understand. Now I wish I didn't understand because they're scary for a different reason, Denim. I don't like this.
Yeah.
And
they're deadly.
The issue I see a lot on our like pickup tables is battle armor is allowed, but so many of the like very rarely do we allow area of effect weapons because they're such a rock, paper, scissors that people are like, well, I wanted to take battle armor, but you took a single BSP bomb that wipes them out. And it's like, cool, we just won't take either of these.
Oh, yeah, because I did that to Hansa on one of our games. Exactly.
Yeah.
We did a Hinterlands game, and I knew he had battle armor, so my BSPs were bombs, and he knew that I was going to do that, so his BSPs were the anti-air, the cover, and it was just who could roll higher.
Yeah, I feel like if I have to do one walk away, it's like maybe area effect shouldn't do that, but then it kind of invalidates the other thing, and then you spiral down. So yeah, that's not for me. I'm not that pay grade, folks. Steve, do you want to talk about physical attacks, the thing that we really take battle armor for, right?
I mean, look, the cartoon had elementals with big, cool, grabby claws. I assume those guys do something.
Technically, maybe.
Most of them, not all of them.
Yeah, we're not going to get into it. There's like 6 different types of like hand things that you can have, right?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like so say you're not riding an Omni, you take one that's got magnetic claws, and then it can ride any mech, but that mech gets a -1 to its walking speed.
Yeah.
Until the elementals are deployed.
There's like powered glove, armored glove,
magnetic glove,
mag glove, vibro claw, heavy vibro claw, magnetic claw. It's like, yeah, we're just gonna go with the basic and say average one. So,
and you can have 2 claws because you got 2 hands, but then that also reduces what weapons you can carry.
Look, all of this just makes me so glad that in Alpha Strike they just get treated like any other unit.
Yes,
right. It's like they're just a unit. It's great. Have fun.
So we're going to assume that you can do physical attacks because things like quad battle armor, my Rottweilers and Fenriers, they can't do physicals because, well, they don't have hands. They've got legs, and they get more advantages because of that. They move faster. They carry more stuff. They get more armor, but they can't do physicals, and that will be reflected on your record sheet. It has little check boxes. Can anti-mech, can mount omnimize, can be mechanized, mount omnis and such, and can do swarms. So let's talk about anti-mech attacks. In the weapon attack phase, that's when you would do the anti-mech attack. You look at the chart. You then see how many dudes you have, because how many dudes you have affects the roll. You then put all of your normal modifiers in. You roll for which leg, and then you just do 4 damage. You got 1 dude, you do 4 damage. You got 6 dudes, you do 4 damage. And then you get a crit roll. That's pretty much anti-mech attack. They're just climbing on the leg, they're throwing a grenade in the actuator joint, and that's it.
Yeah, there's very little risk in there. I guess the big risks are being stomped on because a mech cannot shoot a unit that's in its hex. So if battle armor are in the same hex, the only attack you can do without getting on the ground is to try and stomp on it. And if you do that, you're still at most, you're only going to take out 1 unit, no matter how much damage you do. So if you've got 5 battle armor in there, you can stomp on one of them, then they still have 4, and then they're going to do their little attack and try and crit your leg.
Now, anti-mech attacks are only against the legs.
Yes.
They can't like punch in the center torso or the rear armor or anything like that.
That's a different thing. Yeah, anti-mech attack is just them hanging around and they attack the legs. But they can do it that turn. Like they can jump into the hex that the enemy mech is in, and then they can attack the leg that shooting phase.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes a lot of sense. You got little guys by the legs, and you want to kind of deal damage to them.
Yep.
And the free crit. I mean, you're
free crit roll.
Really, yeah. Well, no. Yeah. But I mean, if that 4 damage gets internal, then you get 2.
Correct. You do.
And that's a real good way to lose a hip.
Yeah.
And then you're probably falling over.
And then you're in big trouble.
Now, here's one thing that a lot of people don't know. A mech can only be the target of 1 anti-mech attack per turn. If you have 2 battle armor in your hex, only one of them gets the leg attack. The other one cannot leg attack.
Now, is that a successful leg attack? I mean, say I have 2.
It can only be the target of 1 anti-mech attack.
Interesting. Okay. So you can't double up and hedge your bets.
Yep.
Right. But even though a mech cannot shoot at something in its hex, battle armor can. So the other unit can still feel free to shoot its lasers and or missiles at the mech as well. And those are always considered to be shooting on the front facing of the mech.
And I should also say, it's not we call it leg attack a lot, but it's anti-mech attack. You can still anti-mech vehicles and other things.
Yes.
That's just what it's called. So also did not know that if the target is immobile, you can aim shot at which leg you want to hit.
Yep.
You still have to roll the 6, 7, 8 whole thing and then aim shot. Like it's literally just aim shot and you just calling out which leg. I was like,
if it's immobile and prone, can you have the elementals carve somebody out of a cockpit? Still legs. Okay.
At least that's how I read. I'm going to put denim on that one.
For the anti-mech attack, yes. Oh, wait, did you say if it's immobile and prone?
Yes.
Yes, that was my question. If it's immobile and prone, can you anti-mech on the entire body table?
You know what? I'm going to have to look that one up. I have never come across that situation because it was always done in a different way. It was done more like a swarm for that. So, which you'll see in a bit. Swarm is a little riskier, way more powerful. Way more powerful.
So Denim's going to look that up while we move on to Swarm. All right. Swarm attack. Here's my personal favorite. This is one I use all the time. In the weapon attack phase, again, it's not physical. You declare and do it in the weapon attack phase. Only 1 can be attempted per target again. So you look at the chart. This one's a little harder normally. You roll, and if you succeed, you end your activation. You have successfully swarmed the enemy mech.
And nothing happens that turn.
If you fail...
You're just on them.
Yeah, if you're just on them. If you fail the roll, nothing happens. You wasted the shot because you cannot shoot and do that. Okay. So just like
what happens next turn?
Next weapon attack phase, your attacks auto hit. Weapon attacks that are in the arms. So like elementals have SRM tubes in their, torso mount things. Mm-hmm. You can't shoot those in Swarm. It's only arm-mounted weapons on the battle armor, and you have to look on your record sheet to determine what is, allowed. But you don't roll the normal 2d6 body chart. You roll 2d6 on the Swarm attack location table, and that location takes all the damage to that location. And here's how I've messed up. You take it in a single grouping. So the example is in there is if you have 5 elementals, each one has a small laser that is 5 times 3, 15 damage. One single location on the Swarm attack location table takes 15, not 3 groups of 5, or not 5 groups of 3, 1 group of 15.
That's really powerful. That's like all these 5 dudes just climb over to one torso, stick their laser beams together and say, I'm going to eat this particular torso.
Yes. But they do it all at the same time, so you don't get more crits on chances. That'd be too strong. Right.
But I mean, so I looked at this table and I was like, oh, this is a really nicely mirrored table because it also includes, it's a 2 through 12 table. The head is in the 2 and 12 position, and then it's mirrored going towards 7. So you can still hit rear. Mm-hmm. You can hit rear center, rear left, left arm, front center torso, and right arm. So it's kind of a mirrored a chart. So you can hit everywhere. It's really a full body table except for the legs. So it's all torsos and arms, which is nice.
Yeah, if you want to hit legs, anti-mech attack. If you want to hit torsos and up, Swarm.
Just imagine these little elementals like climbing all over this thing like locusts.
It's the terrifying part. Now you still get a free crit on the location that the battle armor Swarm attack hits on. not a free crit chance. You still have to roll on the table. You're thinking, you're like, that's still good.
No, that's like even. I mean, you do take a whole extra turn, right? But putting a potential of 15 damage in one spot and getting a crit. I mean,
well,
if
it
you
depends
get 15,
on what your battle armor is. Like, there's things with clan ER smalls that are more.
Man,
yeah,
that's crazy. But I mean, even still, like if you can do that, if you get a lucky hit on a rear, you're almost certain to get 2 possible crit chances because you're going to go inside with, even if you've got, I don't know, 4 guys, right? You're looking 8, 9 damage. 3 guys or 3, lasers. That's 9 damage. That'll punch through most rear armor.
Yeah. No roll to hit either. So yeah.
So you just do it. You're going to get 2 crit chances on a torso. That's wild.
Anti-mech. Going back to that.
Yeah.
Anti-mech against a mech is always actually called a leg attack, and it can only be done on the legs, even if the mech is prone. Like it is a leg attack, period. So if you're going to do an aimed attack against a prone mech, you can either just stand there and shoot at them, or you can swarm them and do an aimed attack on the upper body.
I agree with that because battle armor would be a little too strong if they could just aim shot freely all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, a leg attack, an anti-mech attack is specifically for the legs.
That's why we call it a leg attack.
Yeah, correct.
All right. Back to swarming real quick because we got one more really important thing. Something that a lot of people don't play with. BA can be hit by friendly fire. If you hit a torso location, like your mech is targeting the thing that you've swarmed because you still want it to die faster than the battle armor are doing. If you hit a torso location on a single dice roll on a 1 through 4, you hit the torso like mech component. On a 5 or 6, that battle armor takes it. And then it's random. You then roll on which trooper remaining in the squad takes your shot.
And that's important because if you hit them with a big weapon, any damage left over after you vaporize that does continue on into the target mech.
Now, I have a short story about this exact scenario. I was in one of the MRC Mega Mech tournaments, and I didn't understand how battle armor worked. I was given a set of rabid battle armor, and they had swarmed somebody, and then I shot them, and I got a 3-armor crit, and I hit the engine a couple times, and then it stack pulled. And my poor battle armor went to the moon. They all died.
Yeah, because a stack pull is area of effect damage as well.
Now, this has came up with me. If the mech dies or has an ammo explosion while your battle armor is swarming it, they just hop off.
Yeah.
Like, it's not...
It's one of the few times that they don't take damage from involuntarily leaving an enemy mech.
So when they do their job, when they crit, they hit your ammo, they're like mission accomplished. They jet off, drop, they do whatever they would normally mobility move, and that's it. You're dead, but the battle armor just bloop. All right, we're in the same hex we were in. That's it. Yeah.
So we didn't cover it in the transport thing, but the same thing with if they're on a location and it gets shot, same thing works if they're riding a mech, like a friendly mech in, because you can use them as a blade of armor. So if the mech, the friendly Omni mech that is carrying them gets hit, and it gets hit on the right torso, and a battle armor happens to be in that slot, then you roll a d6, and on a 5 or a 6, the battle armor takes that first.
Takes it first as the Gauss round
like
slows
if it's
down.
an elemental, if it's an elemental with 11 points that you have to do, then 4 points from an ERPPC or a Gauss rifle still make it through.
I don't feel like a Gauss rifle would be hindered by the 1 pip of meat on the inside of the battle armor. I don't know. I feel like we didn't think that one through.
I don't know. Those guys are pretty dense. I'll give it to them.
I don't feel like we need the meat dot.
Because it, again, BattleTech's abstraction. Otherwise, you'd say that your armor penetrating rounds for your autocannons, they shouldn't do all the damage to the battle armor either. They just punch a hole straight through and do most of their damage to the mech behind them. But that's not how it works. I say that's not how it works. I bet there's rules in the tactical operations book that cover that, but we're not covering that in this podcast right now.
He stopped me before I could catch him with it.
So I have a question.
Yes.
We're talking about shooting them and they're taking damage if they're on the mech without, shooting them all off. How do I get rid of these buggers now that they're crawling all over me?
This is the hardest part of BattleTech. They're on.
They're dug in like an Alabama tick. What do I do?
4 distinct things in this entire, I think it's like 2 pages on. Now you've been swarmed. What do you do? And it's like, I need this as a pamphlet and I'm going to slide it in all my merc companies. Like, so I've been swarmed.
Yeah. New players at this point are terrified now. They're like, this is just BS. Like, I can't do anything about this. You are now ripping me apart. I can't do anything. And then you're like, well, I feel that I have to inform you that these are, in fact, your options to get rid of them. And some of them work really, really well. So, yeah, let's start at the top.
All right. The worst way, in my opinion.
It's right. I don't like this one.
But it's the one that it's like the easiest to read. So it's the first one people attempt. You can punch them off, Steve. So for each arm that did not shoot in the weapon shooting phase, you roll a PSR to punch them off at a +4.
Whoa. All right. So this is like Gulliver's Travels. I'm the big dude. I got these little tiny people and I'm trying to like pull them off my chest and throw them.
Yeah.
Yep.
What happens if I miss?
Well, first off, this counts as your physical attack. So I hope you aren't trying to do like any leg attacks either. Like, nope. All of your energy and focus is on the punches. If you have 2 arms and hands, you get 2 attempts. If you don't have hands, this will apply. Like all the normal arm modifiers come into play here. This is where things like your rifleman is really bad at getting battle armor off.
Noted.
Yeah. If it hits, if you roll that +4 PSR, you've got all the hands, like you got a fully functioning arm. If it hits, they fall off and they take the punch damage.
So all of them fall off.
Yeah. You can never separate one dude from the whole squad.
Yeah.
It's brushed off. And take
one of them takes punch damage.
Yeah. If you rolled 2, like you have to declare and be like, I'm gonna attempt 2 punches. If you pass 2 dudes take punches. If you pass, if you one of those passes and the other one fails, 1 dude takes the punch damage. The other one is on your punch table, Steve. You have punched yourself.
Why am I hitting myself?
Yeah,
that's right. So on a 6, you're hitting yourself in the face.
Oh,
it hurts.
God.
So
this is an awful option. I don't like this option.
But you can't, like, if you declare 2 punches, you cannot say, "Oh, the first one got them off. I'm not going to punch a second time." You have
commit to the bit. Yeah, you do it. I got it.
But you only hit yourself if you fail. That's it.
On a 4+.
On a 4+.
Okay.
I need to remind everyone, this is how me and Vapor's game at Brawl in the Bluegrass last year went, where he punched himself trying to get my swarming magnetic battle armor off. Yeah, he punched his ammo explosion in his arm and his Crusader.
There's better ways to do this, though.
There are.
What are those better options? I don't want to punch myself in the face.
All right, so we tried punching. That didn't work great. Jumping helps. The mech jumps and on a +4 PSR on landing, and the battle armor falls off, and each trooper takes 1 damage per hex traveled. Now, I want to say this +4 includes the +3 for the jump PSR, but it wasn't super clear.
It does not.
It does not? Okay. So
it does not.
I was like, if you do a +4 and the +3 for jumping, that'd be real dumb.
It is just a straight +4. So if you're piloting as a 4, then on an 8+, you shake them off.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're
I know that for sure. Positive. 100%.
So your regular pilots, they're looking for 9s. I mean,
now that's a pretty high number. What if you miss? Is this just a separate roll, or does something bad happen if I fail to shake them off?
The mech does not fall because
you just you don't shake them off and they stay on.
Okay.
And they laugh at you.
Not like horribly punishing.
They laugh at you and you know that you're about to get a swarm attack again on the next turn. That's your punishment.
But this is an attempt in the movement phase, which is very important.
Ooh.
Yeah. So the punches, that's in the physical phase, and it requires you to not shoot in the arms. In this one, like turn 1, they swarmed you. Movement of turn 2, you can try to, get them off before they do any damage.
Now, you don't have to leave your hex. You can just jump straight up and down, and it might shake them off, but it won't do any damage because they take 1 damage per hex traveled. Right. So you traveled 0 hexes, they take 0 damage, but they fall off.
in theory, I could take my guy, jump him a couple hexes just to see if I shake him off. And if I don't, I could then go to option 2, which is try to, brush him off with my hands and try not to poke myself in the eye.
Yeah. If you survive to the physical attack phase, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they would do their damage in the weapon phase.
As long as you're jumping, though, Steve, go find a puddle. Go jump in water.
Yeah.
I was about to ask that.
Battle armor cannot enter water. So if you jump into water, into water, they just die, like they're destroyed. And I'm putting that in quotes. Like the elementals can handle water. They can. You can breathe under there. They're fine. But they are out of the fight. It is going to take them too long to extract themselves from this body of water to be functional at all in this fight. Therefore, they are completely taken out of the fight for the rest of the game.
Now, does that have to be level 2 water, or can I jump in level 1 water?
If you jump into level 2 water, they're immediately destroyed. If you jump into level 1 water, you have to see if they fall off first. Because if they fall off, then they're destroyed. If they don't fall off, then you have to wait another turn, and then you just drop prone in the level 1 water, and then they're destroyed.
Okay, so let me just get this straight, just to differentiate between a jump PSR. If I fail that, nothing bad happens. But if I fail a flop PSR, I might whack my head on the console, and I might take fall damage, and they're still on me.
And they're still on you. It's a bad day.
Okay. Now, I remember many moons ago being in part of the doing one of the MRC tournaments, and I got swarmed, and I was lamenting the fact that I didn't know what to do. Someone told me, Steve, you can do a thrash attack or some sort of flail motion. I was having a very bad time, and I did not know where to find that in the UI for Megamech, so I just died. But is that a thing? Is there some sort of...
If you happen to already be prone, and you are in a hex that battle armor is in, and the hex is either clear or paved, then you can do what's called a thrash attack. When you do that, it automatically succeeds. They can't evade that because there's no trees. If there's trees, they just stand beyond the tree. You're not doing anything. And this is going to do damage on the infantry equal to the mech's tonnage divided by 3, rounding up. And then against the battle armor, you divide that into 5-point damage value groupings, and you roll. Each 5 points goes to a random surviving unit.
So you break dance on their bodies.
You do.
And they die.
And that's your attack. Like you can't do any other attacks.
Is that in the movement phase, or is that the physical phase?
That is in your attack phase.
Okay, so I couldn't spend my turn shooting prone and then the physical attack phase thrash.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you fail, it does require a piling skill roll. And if you fail, you still do the attack. Like you still do that. But if you fail, you suffer damage as if you failed an attempt to stand, which includes a seatbelt check and everything.
Okay. So
it's the safest one.
Okay. So let's play this out in our minds.
You're swarmed. What's the first thing you do?
Panic.
Yes.
The first thing we do is panic.
Yeah. First, panic. Step 2, you stop.
It's just like being on fire. You just
really
stop, drop, and roll.
Well, see, in a way, because really the first thing you do is you look for water. Is there a water within jumping or running or walking distance?
I don't want to say running or correction. I don't want to say jumping because jumping into water, you might drown too.
If you fall, they're going to get destroyed before they do damage to you. That's actually one of the, unless you have internal structure showing, unless you have holes that the water can get into with the breach, the best thing would be if you were to jump into water and then fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say we don't jump. We don't have jump jets. We didn't pack those today because we're idiots.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like threatening to punch my own face. You try the flop to start because you got to get prone anyway.
Yep. So
or would it be better to use your movement to just go prone and then thrash?
I mean, it's the same.
If they've swarmed you, like a thrash isn't going to hurt them if they're swarming you because they are on top of you. The thrash only works if they have already been dislodged.
Okay. All right, well, we didn't cover that, so that's
a good question.
That's important.
So
they have to be off you first. So
yes. So we're doing what we're calling the flop, which is choosing to go prone to dismount battle armor, because there's going prone and there's going prone to dislodge battle armor.
If you are knocked prone, the battle armor are going to fall off and they're going to take damage. But if you go prone, that is a much safer thing and they stay on, which is why you've got the flop thing, which is an intentional, violent throwing yourself at the ground to try to shake them off in a controlled manner so that you don't hurt yourself. But yeah, like one of the best ways is to cause someone else to make you to fall, because then they automatically fall off and take a little tiny bit of damage.
Interesting.
Oh, they're scary. They're once they're on you, they're scary.
Yeah, this whole conversation is not making me feel better about battle armor at all.
It shouldn't.
This is like you learn about, I don't know, embolisms or horrible things that might lurk in your body. You're about to have a stroke. You have no idea. You'll never know. You just won't wake up in the morning. It's like, oh God.
So these
are all horrible facts.
So just to reiterate, we panic, we stop, and we drop.
Yeah.
And that is choosing to go prone, PSR, no modifiers, hopefully, unless like you walk, run, all that. I don't think you can drop prone if you run, so check me on that.
You've got to have what? Well,
yeah, see.
Going prone you can, as long as you've got one movement left after you run. I don't know about the flop.
So you can run and then drop prone, right?
I consider it throwing yourself at the ground into this awesome slide to knock them off in a controlled way. But yeah, as long as you keep that one movement point left over to be able to drop prone, you can do it. You can do it at the end of a run.
And we're calling this, we're quote terming it as the flop. You dive onto the ground with full force. It's just normal PSR. I don't know why this one is so easy and the other ones aren't, but yeah, I know. We'll get to that. And if this one passes, the battle armor falls off. They take 2d6 damage, just random 2d6.
One of them takes 2d6 damage, yeah.
Ooh. All right, so timing-wise...
Whoa, hold up. Okay, and then if the mech fails, you are prone, the battle armor is still on you. And no matter what, pass or fail, the mech still takes fall damage, and there's a CPL PSR. That's a chain reaction.
It's only if it fails does it take... Yeah.
If the roll succeeds, the infantry fall off and take damage. So the mech has fallen, as described above. The mech that drops prone takes damage as from an accidental fall as well. All right. So yeah. So no matter what, pass or fail, the mech is taking fall damage, and you've got a seatbelt check for consciousness and pilot hit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've gone over this like 5 times, and now I'm just confused. So I'm going to ask one more time about this quote unquote flop.
Yes.
It could be organized better in this book.
That's true for a lot of things, Denim, not just this.
Why Total Warfare is going away. All right. Ask your question, Steve.
I run.
Mm-hmm.
I save one movement.
Yeah.
I flop.
Yes.
Let's say I succeed the PSR.
Okay.
I still take my fall damage and seatbelt check because I'm hitting the ground.
Mm-hmm.
The battle armor falls off.
Yeah.
Then, because that was in the movement phase, can I also thrash the same turn?
When is a thrash attack done?
Denim was saying that took place as your attack, but I don't know if that's the physical and shooting. Because before, when I asked, we couldn't shoot someone else prone and then thrash in the physical phase.
My brain says yes, that you should be able to.
I mean, logically, right?
Yes.
Because they would fall off at the end of the movement phase, because that's when I threw myself to the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, the book, Total Warfare, it does not specify what phase it's in, but it does say that it is an attack, and it does say that you can't make any other attacks. So...
don't shoot and do that as your
if
physical.
You don't shoot, you could do that as your physical attack if you did not shoot any other weapons. That's what I'm going to say.
And
so this really is just, you're on fire. It's stop, drop, and roll.
Yep.
That's it.
There Perfect.
You go. And just to remind me now, how much does the thrash attack do, and is there a roll for that?
There is no roll. It succeeds automatically.
Oh, yes.
It does. The mech's tonnage divided by 3, round up, and then you split that up into groups of 5 and apply it to random battle armor.
That's a lot of math, and then we're going down a table. We're moving on to my favorite method of anti-swarming
Wait,
swarm
you're telling me
attack.
there's another way to get rid of these guys?
You thought we were done, Steve?
I was hoping we were done because
I was
these things were
hoping so
terrifying.
too.
Well, this one requires that you have your own demons or
What?
battle armor.
This is what I like to call anti-swarm attack.
Swarm or no swarming, right? What is okay? How does this
Swarm or
work?
no swarming. Yeah, friendly battle armor can counter swarm and quote swarm a swarmed unit.
Okay, stop right there. I'm covered in little demons.
Yep.
And you're telling me that you want to put more little demons on my mech.
Yes.
I don't like this, but what is happening?
Yeah, I mean, imagine how that looks. You've got up to 12 little guys all over you. Like it's
Just
it's like a Katamari thing. I don't know.
King
Ball of
Kong
angry
climbing
bees.
the Empire State Building, except he's only 5 tons.
Okay,
Once.
how does this work? Just tell me.
All right, now doing this one took some head scratching, boys. I thought it was easy. It wasn't. First, your guys roll a swarm attack, and then you have to do a lot of modifiers. There's a whole table about battle armor troops active for the attacking enemy, and then friendly mechanized battle armor troopers. That's a lot. Now, there's too. It's too much. It's too much.
It's on page 221 of Total Warfare, the 11th edition. So, just go look up that table.
Yeah.
I would like to say we took a moment to look at this to make sure we had our facts straight before we talked to you fine folk.
And nobody had their facts completely straight.
It was awful. This chart is terrible. There's this inverse calculation you have to do. It's a mess.
We thought it was like, 5 troopers versus 4 troopers, so the 5 trooper gets a bonus. Nope. It's just look at the chart and do it, or flop on the ground.
Just stop, drop, and roll, folks. Just don't bother.
I think
In general, when this happens, so you have your friendly units who do climb up onto your mech. Then what happens, Josh?
in the next combat phase. Gosh. So you've been swarmed. What do? Well, your other guy then does the next turn. So I guess technically it could happen at the same turn. Like you swarm, they swarm, and then you counter swarm in that same turn, I guess.
Ideally, that would happen. So that you're not taking a swarm attack in between these. So ideally, they swarm you. Your friendlies were already in your hex. They get to go. They swarm back.
Yeah.
Okay.
You then attack with your weapons against the battle armors with no movement or terrain modifiers. So it's just
you shoot your little pew pew lasers at them.
Yeah, and I guess you take the attack modifier for battle armor, and that's it.
Yeah, but they still, assuming they survive, which they probably will for a couple turns, they still get to do a swarm attack on you. That's not stopping them from doing a swarm attack.
No,
you're just whittling them away. So eventually, you will destroy all of the enemy battle armor.
Here's the dumb part. It says it's really like your weapons. It doesn't say arm weapons. So the elementals attached to you use their small lasers to shoot the mech. The elementals counter swarming, I'm pretty sure, can use everything to shoot your battle armor.
They're probably still under the swarming,
I hope so.
constraints, because there's already a constraint of if you are swarming, you can only use these weapons. So they are swarming, so they can only use the weapons allowed for swarming.
And Steve's just having an aneurysm over here.
All I can think of is we're talking about mech or battle armor fighting battle armor on top of a mech. I'm just picturing James Bond fighting Christopher Walken on top of a Zeppelin at the View to a Kill. They're having this axe fight on top of the Golden Gate Bridge and the Zeppelin. Just people fighting on top of stuff. This is insane. This is insane.
I just watched Rocketeer the other night. Same thing on top of a Zeppelin. 2 guys having a fist fight. Yeah.
So the answer to this is just stop, drop, and roll.
Please.
Yeah.
Keep
into water. Or
Maybe.
lava. I've heard plenty of people jump into lava and then walk out.
Everybody dies. Great.
The mech has a turn, maybe.
Yeah, the mech has a turn. Yeah.
Oh man, what a mess. I was following along right up until we got to swarming, and honestly,
and that's where it slows. That's where it just makes your game crawl, because nobody remembers all of this stuff off the top of their head unless they use elementals or battle armor all the time. And
even then, I doubt they know all of these, because
they're going to be like, oh well, that's not the way I learned it, or that's not the way I remember it, or the guy who told me the rules taught me it this way. It's why they don't belong in tournaments yet.
or no Omni capable battle armor. So your Fenrirs and your Rottweilers, they're great. They're perfectly balanced.
Those aren't battle armor then.
It's true. They're really
they're so cool. That's the problem, is that they're such a cool unit. They're so awesome, and I love to use them so much. But you have to make sure you've got the time to use them, and then you don't frustrate the person you're playing against. Because if they don't know any of these rules, they're just going to die and not know about stop, drop, and roll. They're not going to know about the thrash attack. They may not know that water kills them instantly. And if you're not a nice person to explain all this stuff, then you're just taking advantage. And you're like, well, you just didn't know the rules. So, you just stood there until you died. That's not fun for them.
Yeah. Battle armor are probably the biggest skill knowledge gap, I would say, for anything, because, well, we didn't even cover all of the rules. This is advanced battle armor, not expert battle armor. And I can't bring these against a newer player that's mastered mechs but doesn't know battle armor, and they know all the battle armor tricks or anti-tricks. So, yeah, going into this, I thought battle armor were more fun and balanced, and then I leave this thinking maybe they're not. Maybe they kind of need a full workover, which, if the plan, we will get a battle armor book. So I hope a lot of these are cleaned up, resolved, made more simple. We don't need...
I would like it all in one book. I would like, instead of, because like doing research for this episode, I went through 2 different books, and even in like Total Warfare, it's in 3 different sections and it's spread out, and you have to cross-reference to find out this rule and what that does. It needs to be all in one easy to read section.
Final thoughts. Steve, what's your favorite battle armor?
First off, final thoughts. I'm terrified. I'm more terrified than I was before. Everything is horrible. I won't sleep tonight.
Think about it, Steve. Like if you're trying to make a star of clan mechs to go up against an appropriate, like a 7,500 point list, you take a couple good clan mechs, and then you put battle armor on them, and then you've got a star. And these guys actually do work. Like, if you can get them close enough to a mech before they die, they do stuff. They're great for being dropped off in the back near the heavy slow guy who doesn't have jump jets, because he can't shoot him. He might get one stomp attack, and then you climb up on him, and now you've swarmed him. And what is he going to do?
No, I agree. Their efficacy is unmatched, right? I mean, for their point value, especially as a clan player, right? I mean, for 447 points, what else are you going to do, right? It's not quite enough for a real meaningful skill upgrade, but you can get a point of elementals. That's great.
They're deadly.
They're terrifying, right? And I'm going to have to start playing with them more to either shake and or fully set that fear in my mind, because going over the rules today, I learned quite a bit. And I don't think I'm going to sleep any better because of it. But Josh, to your question, you asked what's my favorite battle armor. The ones I've used the most are regular elementals.
Mm-hmm.
I did use the Rabid clan battle armor one time. I got one SRM one shot, and I headshot a Thunderbolt, and I crit the cockpit. So that's why Rabid battle armor will always be cemented in my brain as pretty decent.
Yeah.
They're better than elementals, PV wise.
They're cheaper. They're $325 for a whole point. But I think both in Alpha Strike and in Classic, I think the Stormbird Jade Falcon battle armors are some of my favorites. They're really cool. They have an SRM3, which is a little different, but
they're birds and they don't jump.
The Jade Falcon ones do.
Is there a variant that does jump? All right. I've fought against Stormbirds a lot before. I've never fought against the Jade Falcon ones then.
They only jump 2. They're a little bit slower than a regular elemental.
They don't even get the +3 modifier. They
have AP Gauss. They've got an SRM3, and they're fire resistant.
That's cool, though.
Denim, what is your favorite battle armor?
I'm old school. Like, I started with elementals, so when the Elemental 3 came out, it's just an upgrade across the board. I mean, it's got the same armor, so a 10 armor, one pilot, so 11 points of damage. It has the advanced one-shot SRM2, so not quite as much ammo, but the range is 12. You can shoot the SRMs 12 hexes away. They're also armed with AP Gauss, which has a range of 9, so they can do 3 damage. 3 times 5, 15 damage from 9 hexes away, which is good because elementals are only really good if you can get close to a mech so you can swarm them or do some crits. So they need some range so they can be combat effective while they're getting there. And they also have stealth armor, so they are much harder to hit. So if they jump into that heavy woods and you're at long range, then that's 3 for the, it's 1 for the jumping, 1 for the 3 hexes, 1 for the battle armor, 2 for the woods, and then another 1 for medium range or 2 for long range. So you're talking like they're hard to hit. You're not going to hit them until they're really close, and then they're going to just give you a bad day. So Elemental 3 battle armor, super fantastic, not too expensive, useful in almost every single situation. How about you, Josh? Do you have a favorite? Because I know you've used battle armor, and they're always weird ones.
They are always weird ones. It's the which weird one do I go with? And my favorite one are the airy power armor lights from the Raven Alliance. These are our space battle armor.
Mm-hmm.
And they have 1 armor and 1 health. So they have a total of 2.
Which still means how many are in a squad?
5. So you got
5. So you still have to hit them with 5 weapons.
Or just 1 SRM 5. But yes, they are very easy to kill. They have stealth, so they're harder to hit. They jump 3 because, they're space equipped. But what they have is a Mauser 962C weapon, which is a 369 1 damage laser.
Yeah. So they can do damage from 9 away, which is nice.
Yeah.
It's not stealth armor or anything, right?
No, it is stealth armor.
Okay, good. Like I think stealth armor on battle armor is super important. So yeah,
I think it's important.
And they're in orbit up there in space, so they're not going to get hit except for by the Clan ER large laser. I think that's the only one that can go into orbit. So yeah, they're pretty safe up there from all the fighting on the ground.
But then this kind of brings to it feels like so much battle armor stuff is just made for narrative or RPG or their level of play. Like they have some rules that interact with Total Warfare and then a lot more rules that interact lower. And
yes.
I feel like we need to just hey, there's one and there's the other, but they don't need this so much mixing.
Yeah, I do not ever want them as abstracted as the BSP elementals do. But they do need to have their rules and language and organization cleaned up a lot. Like I wouldn't mind seeing some rule changes and some simplifications, but I don't want them to lose their functionality that they have right now because I feel that they are a good infantry unit that is actually effective against battle mechs in the right situations. And it would be a shame to lose that.
All right, Steve, did you learn a lot?
I learned a ton. This is real. No, what has been known cannot be unknown. This is the type of thing that I always find very helpful because I don't normally play with battle armor. I'm very much a battle mech manual player. I like robots. I got into the game because I like mechs. That's what I want to see fielded. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can get into under the surface, but this is pretty cool. So I'm hopefully going to try out some battle armor next time I get to the game shop after I run a tournament and want to not do anything for a while. But
well, Steve, Denham, thanks for coming on for Advanced Battle Armor. And to you, brave Mechwarrior, who may be going to Motor City Mayhem this weekend, may the odds be forever in your favor.